There are moments in life when everything falls silent, when the prayers you once spoke so boldly now seem to dissolve into the empty air, and the path ahead looks covered in thick, unrelenting fog. It is in these moments of deep uncertainty that we begin to question whether we have been forgotten, whether our cries have gone unheard. But what we often fail to see is that the silence is not absence, it is preparation. God's greatest works are not always announced with thunder or visible signs. Many times they are unfolding quietly behind the scenes, beyond the reach of our understanding. Even when you cannot see it, even when you feel like you're standing still in the middle of nowhere, God is making a way, shaping a future more beautiful, more powerful, and more necessary than you could ever design for yourself. The silence of unseen work. There is a mystery in the way God works, a kind of quiet craftsmanship that often escapes the impatient heart. In a world addicted to instant results, we are trained to believe that silence equals absence and delay equals denial. But the truth is far different. God's greatest miracles are often born not in the noise of public triumph, but in the deep, unseen places where no one is watching. In those long seasons when the heavens seem mute and your prayers seem to fall back to earth unanswered, it is easy to think nothing is happening. It is tempting to assume that you have been abandoned or overlooked, that somehow your cries have been too small to reach the ears of the Almighty. Yet this silence is not neglect. It is the slow, deliberate work of a master builder who knows that true greatness requires a hidden foundation. The greatest victories are first fought in the invisible world, the internal battles that strengthen the soul before the eyes ever see the results. You see, in the silence, roots are growing deep beneath the surface. When a tree is planted, there is no grand announcement, no immediate towering branches for all to admire. Instead, there is first a deep digging, a burial of something small and vulnerable into the soil. Then, in darkness, under pressure, in a world where no human eye can see, life begins its slow and patient work. The roots must stretch far and wide, seeking nourishment, battling rocks, pressing through resistance, anchoring themselves deep enough to withstand the storms that will one day come. No one applauds this season. No one even notices. But it is essential. Without deep roots, a mighty tree would be nothing more than a fleeting triumph, impressive for a season, but destined to fall with the first strong wind. And so it is with you. When you find yourself in seasons of waiting, when your progress feels invisible and your prayers seem unanswered, it is not because you are forgotten, it is because you are being rooted. God is weaving strength into the hidden places of your soul, preparing you to carry weight you cannot yet imagine. He is not only building a blessing for you, He is building you for the blessing. And this kind of work cannot be rushed. The soil must be turned, the roots must deepen, the silence must do its work. There is a refinement happening inside of you, a shaping of character, a fortifying of endurance, a deepening of trust that could never be formed in the light of easy days. The danger is that in these silent seasons many people give up. They misinterpret the silence as a no, when in reality it is a not yet. They walk away from fields that were moments away from harvest because they could not see the buds breaking through the soil. They tear down the foundation that was almost ready to hold the weight of the dream because they mistook God's patience for His absence. But if you can understand this truth, that the silence is sacred, that the unseen work is the most important work, then you will endure. You will stay planted even when nothing seems to be happening. You will keep trusting even when the answers feel far away. You will hold onto the invisible rope of faith and refuse to let go, knowing that one day everything hidden will be revealed in a way so powerful, so undeniable, that the years of waiting will not even compare to the glory that is coming. God is not in a hurry. He is not scrambling or second-guessing. He sees what you cannot see. He knows the storms ahead that would rip apart anything shallow or rushed. He knows the weight of the destiny you are called to carry, and He is determined that you will not only reach it, but that you will be able to withstand it when you do. Every silent moment, every delayed answer, every unseen act is part of a grander story, a masterpiece in the making. You are not being punished, you are being prepared. The silence is not your enemy, it is your ally. It is the sacred space where true strength is born. When you look back, you will understand. You will see that every time you thought nothing was happening, something was. Every silent day was a stone laid carefully in the bridge that would carry you forward. Every quiet night was a thread woven into the tapestry of your story, and you will thank God, not just for the blessings that finally appeared, but for the silent seasons that made you ready to receive them. So stand firm in the silence. Trust the unseen work. Let your roots grow deep. Because when the season of silence ends, and it will, you will not be the same. You will be stronger, steadier, and ready to walk boldly into the future that was being prepared for you all along. God is making a way, even when you cannot see it. And in time the silence will give way to a harvest so great that you will know it could have only come from His hand. The wilderness is not the end. The wilderness has a way of making even the strongest hearts tremble, because it strips away the familiar, the comfortable, and the certain. It is a place where the old maps no longer work, where the comforts of yesterday can no longer be clutched for security, and where the voices that once cheered you on fall silent. The wilderness is dry, it is lonely, it is disorienting. And for many, it feels like punishment. But what so many fail to realize in the midst of it is that the wilderness is not where you are left to die. It is where you are summoned to grow. It is not a sign of abandonment. It is a sign of preparation. Throughout history, those called to great purposes have found themselves first wandering through barren lands, stripped of everything that once defined them, forced to come face to face with their fears, their frailties, and their hidden strengths. The wilderness does not destroy you. It reveals you, and through that revelation, it transforms you into something capable of carrying the weight of a destiny you could not bear in your former state. It is in the wilderness that the noise of the world finally fades enough for the voice of God to be heard clearly. It is there, away from the distractions, the applause, the constant chatter of lesser things, that the soul is confronted with truth, raw, unfiltered truth. The wilderness removes the masks we have worn for survival. It exposes the broken crutches we have leaned on for too long. It challenges the illusions we built about who we thought we were, and forces us to build our lives on something stronger, something real. Many people misunderstand the wilderness because it feels so much like failure. They think, if I were favored, I would not be here. But the opposite is often true. It is because you are favored, because there is something rare and extraordinary within you, that you have been led into this barren place, not to be destroyed, but to be refined. There is a sacred rhythm to the wilderness seasons. First comes the stripping away, the loss of old comforts, the unraveling of old identities, the painful separation from people, places, and plans that once seemed so certain. Then comes the silence, the long days and longer nights where no clear answers come, where prayers seem to vanish into the empty sky, and where every step feels heavy and uncertain. Finally, if you endure, comes the shaping, the quiet rebuilding of the heart, the strengthening of the spirit, the forging of a resilience that no easy path could ever produce. The wilderness is where fragile dreams are burned away, and only the purest hopes remain. It is where false strength is shattered, and true power, the kind rooted in humility and faith, is born. When you are in the wilderness, it is easy to believe you have been forgotten, but nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, it is in these very moments that you are most seen, most cradled, most deliberately molded by unseen hands. It is tempting to try to rush through the wilderness, to escape it, to claw your way back to the safety of what was. But if you can stay, if you can endure the stripping, the silence, the shaping, you will emerge with a kind of strength the world cannot imitate. You will become a person who does not crumble when the winds rise, who does not lose their way when the path grows dark again, because you will have learned that survival is not built on circumstances, but on an unshakable foundation within. Understand this: the wilderness is a passage, not a prison. It is a temporary season, not a permanent identity. You are not meant to live there forever. You are meant to pass through it, carrying with you the treasures of wisdom, patience, endurance, and deeper faith that only such a journey can teach. When you emerge, and you will not be the same. You will not speak the same, dream the same, believe the same. You will be wiser, stronger, humbler, and more anchored in the truth of who you were always meant to be. Too often, people give up in the wilderness because they mistake delay for denial, silence for rejection, hardship for abandonment. But if you hold on, if you trust that the wilderness has a purpose even when it makes no sense, you will find that it has made you into a vessel strong enough to receive the blessings that are waiting on the other side. You will realize that the wilderness was never a detour from your destiny. It was the preparation for it. It was every tear cried in loneliness, every prayer whispered in exhaustion. Every step taken in uncertainty has been building you, forging you, preparing you for the promises ahead. When you finally step out of the wilderness and into the promise, you will look back and see that nothing was wasted, not the pain, not the waiting, not the silence. You will see that the wilderness was not your ending, it was your beginning. And you will know that the God who led you into that desolate place never once abandoned you there. He walked with you through every dark valley, stood with you in every lonely night, and when the time was right, He led you out, stronger, wiser, and ready to claim the life He had always been preparing you for. The delay is the preparation. There is a certain agony in waiting that only those who have truly hoped can understand. When dreams are vivid in your heart and prayers are persistent on your lips, every passing moment without visible progress can feel like a kind of silent heartbreak. It is easy, almost natural, to believe that delay means denial, that a closed door today means a closed destiny forever. But what few realize in the thick of the waiting is that delay, in the hands of God, is never wasted. It is preparation. It is the unseen forging of a life that will be ready for what is coming, not just wishing for it. Delay is not a cruel joke. It is a kindness disguised as frustration, a slow building of foundations strong enough to carry blessings too heavy for hurried hands. In the seasons of waiting, impatience can roar louder than faith, tempting you to settle for lesser things simply because they arrive faster. But to settle would be to sabotage the greater thing still on its way. It is in the delay that hidden cracks in your foundation are exposed and strengthened. It is in the delay that skills are sharpened, that character is fortified, that emotional endurance is built. Without this time of quiet forging, a person might step into their future unprepared, lacking the resilience, humility, and wisdom necessary to handle the very blessings they once prayed for. What feels like a cruel postponement is actually a shield, a mercy that holds you back until you are fully formed, until the weight of your calling will not crush you, but lift you. Waiting seasons often feel invisible and irrelevant to the world, but they are where some of life's most important battles are fought and won. It is in the hidden years, the unnoticed efforts, the quiet, faithful steps that a person's real destiny is secured. Consider the strongest structures on earth. They are never built in haste. Their foundations are dug deep and wide before a single tower ever rises into the skyline. To the casual passerby, it may seem like nothing is happening for a long time. But those who understand construction know that the deeper and stronger the foundation, the higher and more lasting the structure can stand. So it is with you. The deeper your foundation in patience, discipline, humility, and resilience, the higher you will one day rise, not just for a moment, but for a lifetime. The delay is doing a work in you that success alone could never accomplish. It teaches you how to endure when applause fades, how to remain steady when circumstances shift, how to find joy not merely in outcomes but in obedience. It weans you off the dangerous need for immediate validation and grows in you a quiet strength that cannot be stolen by the opinions of others. In the waiting, you learn that you are not defined by the speed of your results, but by the steadfastness of your heart. You learn to serve in hidden places, to believe in promises that seem distant, and to work diligently without fanfare or recognition, because your worth is no longer tied to how quickly things move, but to how faithfully you endure. There is a refining that happens only in waiting, a purification of motives, a clarification of vision, a deepening of trust that success could never teach. If you rush the process, you may find yourself standing in rooms you are not ready to occupy, carrying responsibilities your character cannot sustain, holding blessings that slip through your fingers because you have not yet been shaped to handle them. And the delay protects you from premature victories that would ultimately become defeats. It ensures that when you finally arrive at your appointed time and place, you will be able not only to seize the opportunity, but to steward it with wisdom, humility, and strength. The waiting is not a passive thing. It is not sitting idly by, wringing your hands in despair. It is an active, fierce, determined posture of the soul. It is doing what you can with what you have, right where you are, while trusting that God is weaving together the unseen pieces of your future. It is planting seeds in faith, even when the ground looks barren, speaking life, even when you feel empty, building quietly, even when no one notices, is refusing to let the slow pace of progress convince you that you are standing still. In truth, every day you endure with hope, every step you take in faith, every breath you take without giving up, you are moving closer to what has already been prepared for you. One day, when the waiting is over and the pieces come together in ways you could not have planned or imagined, you will look back with eyes wide in awe and gratitude. You will see that every seemingly wasted moment was a brick laid in the foundation of a life you will be proud to live. You will understand that the delay was not a punishment but a blessing, a sacred space where God shaped your heart, strengthened your spirit, and equipped you for the destiny that could not have survived a hurried, fragile beginning. So wait well, work while you wait, hope while you wait, believe while you wait. Because when the time is right, not a moment too soon or too late, the doors will open, the way will clear, and you will step into a future for which every delay was not only necessary but deeply, gloriously worth it. The bridge, you cannot yet see. There are seasons in life when you find yourself standing at the edge of what feels like a vast, impossible gap. You know in your heart that there is something better beyond the horizon, a promised place, a breakthrough, a life more aligned with the dreams planted deep inside you. But from where you stand, there is no visible way forward. You cannot see a bridge, you cannot trace a path, and every attempt to reason your way through the unknown leaves you feeling more overwhelmed and isolated. It is in these very moments, when logic fails and sight falters, that faith is summoned to do its greatest work. Faith, real and raw, is not simply believing in what you can see. It is trusting that the bridge is being built, even when every sense in your body tells you there is only empty air. It is the quiet courage to take one more step when your mind screams at you to turn back. The sacred daring to believe that God is already stretching beams across the chasm, already anchoring pillars into the bedrock of his promises. Even if, from your fragile human view, there is nothing but silence and space. What many never realize until much later is that the journey of faith is often marked by stages of absolute blindness. There are times when the future will not come with blueprints, where no detailed instructions are handed out, and where each step must be taken into the unknown, fueled only by a deep inner trust that if you move, the way will be made. These are not moments of abandonment, they are moments of invitation. Invitations to a deeper relationship with the one who sees all, knows all, and weaves all things together with perfect wisdom and timing. The bridge you cannot yet see is not absent. It is simply unfinished. And sometimes you are called to start walking long before the last pieces are put into place. That first trembling step into the unknown is not foolishness. It is faith at its most pure, the kind of faith that moves mountains and summons miracles that logic could never predict. Too often people wait for certainty before they move. They wait for all the lights to turn green, for every risk to be erased, for the entire plan to be laid out before them like a flawless map. But faith does not work that way. Faith grows in the stepping, not in the standing still. The bridge appears not to those who demand guarantees, but to those willing to move forward in obedience, even when all they have is a whisper in their soul and a promise in their heart. Sometimes God waits until you lift your foot before he places the next stone. Sometimes the waters do not part until you step in. Sometimes the provision does not come until you commit to the journey with no visible means of support. This is the terrifying beauty of real trust. It demands that you live not by what you see, but by who you know God to be. In the gap between where you are and where you are called to be, fear will scream the loudest. It will conjure images of failure, abandonment, and regret. It will taunt you with memories of past disappointments and doubts about your own worthiness. It will tell you that you are foolish to hope, reckless to dream, naive to trust. But fear, though loud, is a liar. Fear magnifies the gap and blinds you to the unseen work already unfolding in your favor. Fear tries to convince you that the chasm is your end, but in truth it is merely a passage, one that requires a different kind of vision, one that demands eyes of faith rather than eyes of flesh. If you could see what is already being prepared for you, if you could glimpse even for a moment the intricate ways the bridge is being formed, you would never doubt again. You would realize that the connections you need, the opportunities you seek, the strength you must have for the next season are already in motion, already being aligned by a hand far more capable than yours. The bridge is not your burden to build alone, it is your invitation to trust the builder. Your responsibility is to move forward in obedience and faith, one step at a time, even when the road ahead looks invisible and the outcome feels uncertain. One day, you will look back and see it all so clearly. You will see how every act of obedience, every small step of trust, every moment when you chose faith over fear, was laying down another stone in the bridge that carried you forward. You will marvel at how doors opened at just the right moment, how help arrived when you were at your weakest, how what seemed like detours were actually carefully placed turns that protected and positioned you for the fulfillment of promises too great to comprehend in the moment. You will see that the bridge was never invisible to God, only to you, and that it was always enough to carry you safely across. So do not despair when the path is hidden and the future uncertain. Do not give in to the temptation to retreat back into safe, small living. Dare to believe that what you cannot see is being built with love and wisdom beyond your understanding. Dare to trust that your steps, even the shaky ones, are taking you somewhere beautiful. The bridge is there. The way is being made. Keep walking. The way opens at the right time. Timing has a way of testing even the strongest faith, because there is nothing more frustrating to the human heart than a hope deferred. You can see the dream, you can feel the calling, you can almost taste the life that your soul knows is waiting. Yet the doors remain closed. The opportunities seem just out of reach, and every attempt to rush forward feels like running against a wall. In those heavy moments, it is easy to wonder if you have been forgotten, or if your dream was a cruel illusion. Yet what you must understand is that delay is not denial, and silence is not absence. Rather, the timing is being orchestrated with a precision so perfect, so intricately tailored to your destiny, that even the smallest shift could alter everything. The way will open, but it will not open a moment too soon or a moment too late. It will open at exactly the right time, when both the path and your heart are fully prepared to meet. The right time is not simply about external circumstances aligning, it is about the internal alignment of your soul. Sometimes you are not waiting for the opportunity is waiting for you to become the person who can carry it well. It is in the waiting that your character is tempered, your vision is sharpened, your motives are purified. Dreams are weighty things, and without the inner growth forged through patience and perseverance, they can become burdens that crush rather than blessings that lift. The right time is when you are no longer desperate to prove yourself, but strong enough to serve with humility, wise enough to lead without pride, and resilient enough to endure the inevitable challenges that come with every open door. Many lose heart because they confuse movement with progress. They see others racing ahead, grabbing opportunities, living seemingly successful lives, and they wonder why their own road remains blocked. But what they cannot see is that a fast road does not always lead to a lasting destination. A hurried success can collapse just as quickly as it rises, while a carefully prepared life can weather storms and sustain blessings over the long haul. What looks like a delay in your eyes is often divine protection, sparing you from doors that would have led to disappointment, heartbreak, or a diversion from your true purpose. The way opens not when you are anxious enough, or tired enough, or desperate enough, but when you are ready enough. Ready to step into the new season, not with frantic striving, but with steady anchored faith. The right time is crafted not just for your sake, but for the sake of everyone you are meant to impact. There are lives connected to your obedience, stories waiting for your courage, chains waiting to be broken by your freedom. Sometimes the way must remain closed, because the full ripple effect of your life is still being prepared. A single open door can set into motion 1,000 unseen miracles. And for that to happen, every piece must be in place. Trusting the timing of God is not passive resignation, it is active surrender. a fierce commitment to prepare your heart, to sharpen your gifts, and to walk faithfully in the present moment, while holding open hands toward the future. When the way finally opens, it will be undeniable. What once seemed impossible will unfold with such grace and precision that you will know it could not have been orchestrated by your own striving. Opportunities will come that you did not have to manipulate or chase. Connections will appear that no amount of networking could have manufactured. Strength you did not know you had will rise within you, and the fears that once seemed overwhelming will crumble before your steady step. You will realize that every no, every closed door, every delayed answer was a necessary thread in the masterpiece being woven behind the scenes. You will see that the waiting was not wasted time, but sacred preparation, that the hidden seasons were not punishments, but places where roots grew deep and foundations were strengthened. It is tempting to try to pry open doors before their time, or to force outcomes that are not yet ripe. But rushed blessings often become burdens, and premature promotions can crush fragile hearts. It is better to arrive late and ready than early and unprepared. It is better to step into the right moment fully equipped than to stumble into it half-formed. The God who planted the dream in your heart knows the road to fulfill it, and He is not careless with the precious gift of your life. His timing is not random, it is precise, intentional, perfect in ways your limited vision cannot yet comprehend. So take heart in the waiting. Refuse to let impatience turn you bitter or fear make you settle for less. Keep preparing, keep believing, keep building your inner life with strength, integrity, and hope. When the way opens, and it will, you will walk through it with a confidence not born of arrogance but of deep, tested trust. You will know you are not stepping into a fleeting moment of luck, but into a carefully prepared destiny. And you will carry with you the quiet, unshakable knowledge that every second of the waiting was worth it. Every tear was seen, every prayer was heard, and that the way has opened at exactly the right time for a life far greater than you ever imagined.